Hey YouTubers, welcome back to our Desert Have a Garden. We haven't made any videos in a while and there's a good reason for that. We don't have much going on in the way of a garden. So as you can see here, we just have dried up okra. Has one leaf left on it. And we have our grapevine that is currently dormant because of the cooler temperatures. Even here in the desert it does get cooler, though it's still not like winter in most places. I think it's almost 70 degrees today. In January it's nice. Most of the leaves have fallen off the grapevine, but we do have a couple stragglers here. But for the most part it is just a dormant vine. So the reason we don't have much going on is because we were getting ready to sell our house. We were considering a move. However, now after we made a bunch of repairs to the house and made it look really nice, it made it really hard to leave. So we probably aren't going to be moving. But in the meantime, we tore down the chicken coop. It's not there. It was right there. It's gone. We do have our compost right there. This metal frame is actually over here. It was from the chicken coop, but that's all that remains of it. And right in this area was our aquaponics system. The fish are no longer in the ground, as you can see, and the system is completely removed. So there's nothing there. So we go back over this way to our little dirt beds, and so I've had the bare minimum of watering going on just to keep the grapevine going dormant. So it's about once every 4 days I water 5 minutes on the timer, so it's not much. And then in the next bed, nothing over here. But we do have our artichoke plants that are perennials, and you can see they're kind of multiplying. It used to just be one plant there and one plant there, but now you can see 2 over here, and then this one here looks like it might be branching off into a second one. So they kind of died back in the fall to nothing much but dried leaves, and now that we're in the winter they're starting to come back with new green growth. So I'm hoping in the spring we'll get some lovely artichokes from these plants. If we continue on, looks like the lavender plant hasn't made it. I haven't really given much care over here, but the rosemary is looking great. And look at the pretty little flowers. The rosemary plant smells really nice. But our other 2 beds have nothing. They're just dirt. This is it. It's kind of sad and depressing every time I look out here. This is my first winter garden since we've started that I haven't had anything, and it's really kind of sad to not have anything green to look at when I look out the window. Nothing in the barrel. I usually do potatoes or sweet potatoes, something in there, pickles or cucumbers. But a couple days ago, my husband and eldest son notified me of a problem. We had vermiculture, which is worm farming, going on. Oh, look here, a little bee. So we had vermiculture indoors in order to have lots of good worms. They were actually red wrigglers that we put both in the aquaponics and in the compost and the dirt beds, just to keep everything nice and healthy. Well, during these few or several months that we have been working on the house and considering a move, they've been neglected. I haven't fed the worms, I haven't checked on them, and the guys came in and told me there's a problem. Nothing's good here. So we're gonna go check on it and see what's going on. Okay, this is where I keep the worms, in this bin out in the garage. Now, as you can see, stuff has been piled on top of it, which is actually just the paper, shredded paper and newspaper that we were putting in with them. But obviously they have been long since forgotten. So let's move some stuff and take a peek here. I'm a little bit scared to see what has happened over the course of about 4 months of neglect here. The temperature has stayed nice in here, but Worms do need to eat, just like every other creature. Okay, hold your breath because I am going to. This is scary. Oh, wow. I don't know if you can see that. It looks like nasty worm soup. The good news is it doesn't smell super horrible. But look here on the edge. See if I can get this to focus. This is like bugs all over the edge. Oh, there we go. Do you see those bugs? Okay, let's drag this outside and take a look. It smells horrible. Okay, now that we're outside, I will give you a better look in the sunlight of what's going on here. And it does stink now because it like stirred up and it actually splashed on me a little bit on my hand. It was pretty gross as I was coming out. I don't see any living worms in here, but I see all these bugs. I don't know what they are. Maybe they're worm larvae type things, but I suspect there's something else. But they are everywhere. So this is a really stinky thing that I don't think I can just throw away. Let's give a little slosh of that so you can see. That's just liquid. Ugh, so gross. I think all my worms died. Hopefully there's some that are still alive or eggs or something that'll make new ones. But what I'm going to do is put it in the compost bin. I drug it right over here to the compost. And the compost, again, I haven't done much with the compost in the last several months, but it has been breaking down to some extent. It was all the leftover straw and stuff from the chicken coop and chicken manure, but I haven't really added much. I did add the kids' Halloween pumpkins, are in here somewhere. So let me try and lift up this really heavy, yucky worm compost and throw it into the compost bin. Try and get this into the compost bin. It's really heavy. It's got to be, I don't know, 60 or more pounds. It's super heavy. Maybe my son will come and help me lift this up, since I don't think I can do it on my own. Let's try and lift it. Ready? Up here. Oh my gosh. Can you guys see that? Whoa. Oh, the smell is horrible. Oh my god. It makes me want to throw up. Okay, you can back up, honey. Oh, that's really bad. Whew. Don't let your worms die. That's the moral of the story. They're no good for the garden that way, and oh wow, look at that. Ugh. It smells worse than raw sewage. Okay, so we had a double layer to try and keep the moisture out of where the worms were and let it leak into the bottom bucket. But when I wasn't feeding them and taking care of them, I wasn't adding dry paper and stuff to help absorb the moisture, it just all turned wet. And you can see it looks a little bit mildewy in there. Oh. Okay, here's the bucket where the worms were. Oh, every time I keep getting a whiff of this. There's these little bugs. It almost looks like it has eaten the finish off the bucket in there. The finish is this tan color, but inside it's like blue where the level was. Okay, I'm going to mix it in with the compost a little bit, hoping that it does something good with the compost. Hoping that, I mean, it is pretty broken down. I don't know what more it can break down into. Add some much needed moisture into the compost. It's been pretty dry, but it's just sludgy and wet and gross. I'm really hoping that there's a whole bunch of either baby worms or worm eggs in here, those red wrigglers that are just going to be happy now that they're dried out. Maybe they'll come back, but I honestly don't see any bodies of worms. I see those little tiny bugs that look more like beetles. I can see a little bit of newspaper in here that hasn't completely broken down. But since we are going to be staying here for a while longer at least, I think we are going to do a spring garden to some extent. And with our spring garden, I always like to add lots of compost. So hopefully this will all be good for the garden, and I'll throw it in there in the next week or two. I'll post another video showing what we're going to do about seeds and starting new seedlings, or if we're going to start with baby plants, something like that. We'll see. But everybody, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for future videos, and we'll see you next time.